Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for coming this morning to my session. I know that there's a lot competing for your time. This is intended to be a 20-minute session. I'm going to cover a lot of ground because I truly hope if those of you who are sitting here today have not done any freelance writing and want to, I hope by the end of 20 minutes you'll have a roadmap for how to do that and how to earn some extra money. So I'll cruise through a lot of content. At the end, I'll give you a checklist. So if you're not able to write things down, you can see exactly what you need to do. I also have a blog post written, which I'll share the link with you as well, that will walk you through all the tools and resources that you need to get going. Out of curiosity, how many of you already freelance write? Just to get, okay, I hope I can share little tidbits of wisdom, and maybe you can share some with me at the end too, but I'll walk you through what I know. So how to expedite laptop lifestyle through freelance writing. Just a couple things about me. I come from the west coast of Canada. I do spend a lot of time in Arizona, so with my traveling, I wanted to freelance to be able to earn money and be anywhere. I've submit articles in airport lounges and just been wowed that I can invoice a client and get paid on the go. My blog's about 1.5 years old, and my goal coming to FinCon, last year was my first FinCon. I want to make zillions of dollars with my blog. That's my goal. But I feel that's a bit of a long haul goal, and so in the interim I knew that I could make money right now, and that's what's awesome about freelance writing. It doesn't take a lot of time to get up and running and have a client behind you. So today we're just going to cover how to get started. We're going to cover how much to charge, which kind of comes down to your decision making, but I'll walk you through how to arrive at that, and then how to structure a writing business. So the first thing you need to do when you freelance, of course, is pick a niche or niche, however you want to use that word. It's great when you're new at any industry to say that you're going to offer all your services to anyone and everybody because you want business. But the benefits of creating a niche, of course, or choosing a niche is that you can easily position yourself as an expert. So it's easier getting clients moving forward to say, well, I've written for, X, Y, and Z companies, and they can see the information or what you've done, sort of like your content portfolio. So it's important for that reason. It's easier to build credibility, and then of course there's just riches and niches. The better you get at it, the more money you can command. You might have a following in the space you write about. So if you're struggling for what niche to choose, oh, and I'm sorry, let me just touch on this too. It saves time researching. So I recently took on a client on a subject matter I knew nothing about. Why they hired me, I have no idea. But I kind of looked at it like a research project. I could research anything and write on any topic. But it diluted my rate because I had to spend so much time researching. I knew nothing of it. It was a challenge. So if you pick something you kind of have a foundation in, it saves you loads of time. So here's just a few things in the finance space. Credit cards, investing, retirement, travel, budgeting, and student loans are few examples. There's so many industries. But if you have a real sense of where your foundation lies, that's probably a good niche for you to choose. The next thing you need to do to get started, so now you know what you might want to write about, and keep in mind you could keep it broad and then narrow in as you move along, but you need writing samples. So when you're brand new, if you don't have anything or you don't even have a blog, that seems really daunting. Like, where should you start? So of course, how? You can offer to write something for free. So as an example, I just had a client, they seemed uncertain about committing, and I said, look, I'll write something for you for free. You can let me know if you like what I do, and then we can talk about pricing from there. So that's a great strategy, and FinCon is full of people who would love to hear from you and have you write for free. So that's the first way, and you get published. If you ask them to put it on their blog, you then have a link to send to another client. The other thing you can do is you can create 3 writing samples that you just make up. So choose 3 topics you can pick. Choose a word count. I would say something like 1,000 words. And in the next step, I'm going to walk you through where you can put those so that a prospective client can see sort of your start portfolio. So just ideas of what you can write. So a how-to on something, how to do something, a story, a review of a product. I've had big success on my own blog with writing review articles, a list. Those are just a few. So of course, now you need an online presence. So you have a niche, you have a few writing samples, and now you need an online presence so someone says, well, who are you? You have something to send them. So easiest thing to do is to create a Hire Me page on your website, and if you're sitting here thinking, well, I don't have a website, we're going to cover that too. But a Hire Me page, through the link I'll send you to, you can get a look at mine and just mirror what's there. But you can put some of your writing samples on your Hire Me page, talk about what it is that you do write about, and then even some of the offerings that are included in your writing services, which we'll get to. So a Hire Me page is the easiest thing. On my website, I hide it at the very bottom of my page because my writing, sometimes I'm writing for clients that don't perfectly align. So I have the link there. It's more for me to send to my client than for somebody to stumble upon on my website. That doesn't really happen very often. Tweaking your LinkedIn profile is huge. Having a really captivating headline is really important, and that's another thing that you can just send someone. It just offers you a little bit more credibility. And then use contently.com and Medium. So if you write these samples, if you do not have a website, go on contently.com. You can post articles you've written for other people and articles that you've just written as your sample, and it will give you your own unique URL. I use this too. So I can send to a client, who are you, Kelley, what have you written? And I go, here's my Contently profile. And they can sort and filter if you have a lot of content there, but that's a great tool to use. Now, I have heard people in this space say they also get work through Contently. They have an algorithm that will comb through all of the information that people on Contently have posted and try to align prospective clients with writers. That has not happened for me, but apparently this happens. Medium.com is fantastic too. If you've written anything, it's as simple as copying and pasting your article into Medium. I'm checking my time. Okay, step 4, you're going to create an offering. So when someone says to me, well, can you write something for me? And how much do you charge? There's a lot of things that need to be considered and thought about to make that decision. And I had to learn all of this. By the way, I started writing for a company for $6. And then I got paid through PayPal, and they would take some because I just wanted to learn about SEO. It was pitiful. Anyway, so I've learned a lot the hard way. The first thing you can offer clients is providing topics. This is a time suck. I love when a client says, please write this for me. It's a beautiful thing. I don't want to comb through their website and find out what articles they have and don't have, or I pitch ideas and they go, that's been done before. What a waste of time. But you can, if it's somebody starting that doesn't have a big portfolio, you can certainly pitch article topics, and for them, they're mind blown. If you have sort of like a marketing eye for what would be good for them, that can be a huge offering. So it goes two ways. If they're big, it can be a pain because they've covered topics before. If they're small, it can be a really big add-on. Internal links, so if you let them know, hey, I'll write for you, and not only that, but as I refer to different things in my writing, I'm going to direct them to other pieces of your website to make your website sort of more clickable with more follow-through. Also, external links where applicable. So these are just things that you would say that not only will I write for you, but these are a couple other things I can add in addition to my writing services. You can add a specific number of revisions, which could be your benefit or theirs, but you really want, if a client comes back to you after you've written an article for them, you want them to really have a cohesive list of the changes that are necessary. Otherwise, it can end up going back and forth a bit like a tennis game, like, oh yeah, and I forgot to mention this other thing that I need changed. So if you limit your revisions, you might say 1, and be really sticky, you might say 2 or more or whatever. But it's important to have a cap on it, and just makes clear, sort of almost like from a contractual standpoint, how many times we can lob this thing back and forth before it's done and finished. Pictures are something I didn't really understand when I got started writing. So generally, if I'm writing for a blog, I might include one feature image, for example. Well, they have to be royalty free. You can't just steal pictures off the internet. So Pexels.com, and again in the article I have, there's a whole pile of other sites. Pexels.com is free, so you can use those images. You can use a service like Shutterstock, which are the best images. Like if you Google an image and you'll go, that one's so great, and then you think, yeah, because it's Shutterstock and you have to buy it. That's why it's awesome. Anyway, but 2 options there, Shutterstock paid or a service like Pexels, which is free. And then, of course, there's SEO. If you learn even little tidbits of SEO, can be a huge benefit for your clients. You don't need to know a ton. You could simply just Google some articles online and learn just a few things so that when you say to them, I'll write for you, and I can do the following things to enhance some of your SEO. You don't need to be a guru in the space. And then publishing it to their site. So if you're familiar with Squarespace, WordPress, or any other websites, you can say, hey, not only will I write this for you and do all of these things, but I'm happy to publish it once you've approved the article. So that's another add-on to your service. Again, you have to consider the time suck to all these things, because once you've determined maybe what you want to earn as an hourly rate in your mind, all these extra things are stripping away what you're earning. So you just have to be careful with your pricing and how long these things will take you. So then you need to find work, right? So, we're doing good for time. well, where are you going to find work? This is a phenomenal location. So I came here last year. I was writing for my $6 company, special time, and I went to the freelancer marketplace, which was yesterday, and then people say, well, what do you do? And I said, well, I'm a writer. Like, you have to own it. You can't wait for somebody else to say to you, you are appointed as a writer. I just said, I'm a writer. I don't know, am I? And I went to various tables and just said what I had a blog, so I did have a bit of a portfolio there. And I said that I offer writing services, and I got 2 really great clients through that space. So if you didn't go to Freelancer Marketplace, which is over, even networking here, there are so many blog writers that are bogged down. It's a big job. They want somebody to write. So if you're looking for work, just start networking and own the fact that you can write. If you have anything written, you're not claiming you have any other special credentials. You can write. You're a writer. That's fair. Problogger.net/jobs. They post great jobs. There's all kinds of, it's not just finance space, there's almost anything. So that site is huge on blogs in general, but their job board's really good. You certainly have to be careful, and they have some safety precautions about scams and stuff like that, but you can definitely find jobs through ProBlogger. And then Upwork, Fiverr, and Freelancer. These are things I'm sharing with you, but not things that I have done myself. That cut out. Good. Some of the sites like Upwork, people that are on there being really successful have worked very hard at building these portfolios, so it can be a bit tough to build a portfolio on those spaces, but it is something you could look at and learn, and there is potential for sure for work in those spaces as well. Then there's cold and warm pitching. So warm pitching, like I say, would be something like FinCon, where there's people already welcoming somebody to help them with their writing services. Cold pitching would be the equivalent. I have a background in real estate. I do a little bit of real estate writing. So I would contact people in my community and say, hey, I write. Do you need any writing services? And I would blast those emails like copy and paste style, almost like fishing, hunting for work to people. So if you pick your niche, you can kind of do that as well. Just go on the web or within your community and see who might need your writing services. If you see, for example, they have a blog, great. They have a blog, they might be thinking, oh, this thing's brutal, it's taking all my time. They'd be happy to hear from you. So those are a couple other ways to find work. Okay, getting paid. I don't remember what I said. So again, in terms of getting paid, it really varies by client. In some cases, when you're hunting, like let's say ProBlogger, the job board, they might have, the client might already have the rate set. So they might have a per word rate or a flat fee for usually a certain amount of words. In that case, I mean, I guess you could try to negotiate, but sometimes it's already set for you. On the other hand, though, if someone says, yeah, I'd like you to write, but I don't really know, you know, how much to ask you or like what the pricing is and so on, you can do the same. You can have a per word rate and you can have a flat rate. And you have to, again, decide what you're offering within your writing services. So you might be writing the article. Are you publishing it to their website? Are you including internal and external links? And it takes a while to fumble through how long it's going to take you to do that, including revisions coming back and forth, and what you want to earn, and then balance between what a client is willing to pay. Does anyone on this topic, does anyone have any questions? And I'll answer everything else at the end, but just in terms of pricing, anybody? Yes? Okay, so the question was, what are typical rates? It depends on your expertise in a given area. And I will also say, generally speaking, when I deal one-on-one with a client, I can get less money than if I'm dealing with a company that has a marketing budget. And sometimes they're less demanding as well. So the rate could be $6, an article, seriously, to my mentor from last year was $1,200 an article, and hugely varied on word, and so it's a major range. I would say as you get rolling with some experience, you could expect between $200 and $300 an article. But yeah, you need some background. Did that answer sort of a murky? Yes, in the back, sorry. So do you mean like, okay, so the question is, how am I basing that fee? Is it by column, did you say, or by article? It would be for the whole piece. So per piece, I would either be charging them per word that I've written or a flat rate. And usually you've decided a word count range in your mind. So it wouldn't usually be by a column or by a page, but you would say like a double-spaced page about 250 words, for example. And those are quite small articles. I would say generally you're in the neighborhood of 1,000 to 1,500. I also have clients that are like 400 word articles as well, but it would be per whatever the piece you've decided on, that's what you're charging for. Okay, oh, sorry, and there was one more. Yes. Yes. So the comment was just that at Freelancer Marketplace, she'd seen the range of 10 cents a word to $1 a word. And what I've heard too is sometimes if the clients come in hot with like $1 a word, they don't last. So all of a sudden they'll go, oh, we're going to in-house all our writing, and you're done. So even though the lower end sometimes they can be a little bit more strong and steady, you build a bit of rapport, you can ask for a little bit more money. If they come in hot and you're like, yes, $1 a word, sometimes it won't stick. Yes.
It's also worth, like, I do a lot of data visualization, so I produce original images that are, like, you know, data-driven, and that can bid up your rate quite a lot because it looks a lot better than, like, a random stock photography.
Totally, and I'm repeating this just for the virtual and for people in the back. So she was just commenting that she uses data-driven images for her clients, so that bumps up the rate. So anything extra you can add is, you know, going to bump up your rate. The more you can offer them and take off their shoulders, the better. I'm just going to move along, and we'll cover. Oh, that didn't work out so well, did it? Sorry about that, you guys. But that says to set up your invoicing program. So this is kind of the theme of how I roll. But my first client too, he goes, "Do you accept credit cards?" And I said, "Yes, I do." And I thought, I have no idea how I'm going to, like, I don't even know how to do it. Anyways, so I set up FreshBooks is awesome. It's so easy. At first I wanted to do the spreadsheet thing and track all my own stuff, but I found with what I'm trying to do with my own deadlines, I didn't want to track, have I sent them the invoice? Did they pay on time? All of those things. So I just was really happy with FreshBooks doing that for me. FreshBooks charges you rates based on how many clients you have. So the more you have, the more you're going to pay with FreshBooks. So that being said, the odd time I have like a one-time client, not a recurring client, I do use PayPal's invoicing service. So it doesn't look kind of as skookum as, let's say, FreshBooks, but PayPal's another good option. And there's lots of other ones. Those are just two that I use. So 7, when I just said about at the beginning that we're going to learn about structuring your business, this again is for you to give thought to. But you have to obviously think about how much you want to work, which days and hours you want to work. With writing in particular, because it's a little bit on the creative side, I find there's hours in the day that I'm great, and then I tap out and I'm not so fantastic. So even though I might want to work these long days, my brain won't, I can't do it. Determine where you'll work. Some people need that dead quiet space, so you'd have to give thought to, if you're somebody that needs that really quiet, peaceful space, where are you going to do it? And then again, your writing process. So I'm not a person, if a client gave me a topic to write in general, I'm not great at sitting there, cutting the outline, you know, reading it through, editing it, all that in one sitting. I usually need to give myself a couple days to stagger these things, because inevitably you send an article and these terrible errors come back. And I don't know if you guys have experienced that with anything you've done. You look at it so many times that you can't even see what's in front of you anymore. So you sort of have to, even though you might have this limited word count in an article and think, easy, I can fly through it. Sometimes you need to stretch your process out, and sometimes that's like if you get quite busy, like scheduling through a spreadsheet or something for this kind of process as well. And then again, yeah, your invoicing strategy. So how I invoice my clients once a month, because it's just clean and easy for me. Every first of the month, I send out all my invoices. You could certainly do, you know, really whatever you want, but it's good to have that laid out. That's sort of everything in a really fast nutshell. So at my website, reconcileyourwallet.com/how-to-make-money freelance writing is basically what we covered in long form with all the links if you wanted to look at like a Hire Me page as an example, or any of the other tools, including those royalty-free picture sites. Those are all listed there. And then there's a checklist if you wanted to walk through what we did today, reconcileyourwallet.com/fincon18. And wow, it's exactly 20 minutes. So I have time if you guys have any other questions on anything that we talked about or anything else. I'm happy. Anybody? Yes?
What's your opinion on leveraging like text broker or outsource content?
So what was the first thing I heard?
Like, what's your opinion on leveraging text broker or something like that to leverage your time?
So is text, I don't know that stuff. The question is, what is my opinion on leveraging something like text broker or outsourcing time? Is text broker a writing service? Okay, I'll share this with you. It's on camera now, but I have this client I write for, a real estate company in Vancouver, and I was writing for them for a long time. They were great. I sent them articles. There was no revisions. There's probably mistakes. I don't know. They were so easy. They pay me really well. And then I subsequently learned that the creative director, I was working for a creative agency who had it contracted, they thought she was writing the articles. So then she wanted to broach this subject and said, well, would it be okay if I brought on a copywriter? Because we've done that. And they said no. So that question is so hard because some people are attached to you. If you approach that subject right from the outset and said, I have a team or whatever, then it might be okay, but it would be a client-by-client basis. It would need to be, I think ethically, it needs to be full disclosure, because I'm uncomfortable now with this scenario. Any question I ask about the article, they then have to go and say, I was wondering. Well, no, you weren't. Kelley, me? What? Right? It's murky. So it depends is the answer. Anything else? Thanks, guys. Oh, one more. Very interesting question. So the question is, if you offered as a service to publish to their website, how do you get into their website? They give you a password to get in. And I will tell you, I've had companies, my $6 company, they gave me this Miami Realtors login, and then I said I didn't want to work for my $6, and I would probably put money on the fact that they never changed the login thing. So yeah, some people are a little bit weird. They might, I don't know for sure, they might be able to set up like admin permissions that are specific only to you, but generally speaking, if you have a trust relationship, they'll give you the login, and then if it didn't work out, you know, even as a courtesy, you could say, hey, and don't forget to change your password. So yeah. Okay, thank you so much. I will be here to answer any other questions. Thank you very much for coming.